Okay, let's start. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Recite the Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Allahumma barik wa ala Sayyidina. Okay, in lesson number 16, we will learn about the concept of Tarfeem and Tarqeeq. Tarfeem means pronounce the letters in a thick tone, thicker voice, heavy tone. And Tarqeeq means to pronounce the letters in a thin tone. Right? In lesson number 1, we learn about the Mustaliya letters. We should pronounce the Mustaliya letters always in a thicker voice. But in lesson number 16 now, we are learning the letters that sometimes should pronounce in a thick tone, sometimes in a thin tone. So, if there are 3 letters include to pronounce sometimes thick tone and sometimes thin tone. Alif, Lam and Ra. Okay?
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
How many letters pronounce sometimes thick tone and sometimes thin tone? 3.
3.
Alif, Lam and Ra. Alif is so simple. If there is a thicker tone letter like this, before Alif, Alif should pronounce in a thick tone like Ola. And if there is a thin tone letter before the Alif, Alif should pronounce in a thin tone like Malan. This means Alif depend upon the previous letter. If it's a thicker tone letter, Alif should pronounce in a thick tone. If it is a thinner tone letter, so Alif should pronounce in a thin tone. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we will move toward the next letter, Lam. Lam, sometimes pronounced in a thick tone, sometimes in a thin tone. Okay, but in short, you can keep in mind always Lam should pronounce in a thin tone. What I said?
Lam should pronounce in thin tone.
Always.
Always.
But with the condition, if there's a Allah name and Zabar or Pesh before the Allah's name, then Allah's name should pronounce in a thicker voice. Okay?
Yes.
Zabar or Pesh before the Allah's name, the Lam of Allah's name should pronounce in a thicker voice. But like Allahu Rasulullahi in Azan. Allahu Akbar. Okay. And when there is a Zayd before the Allah's name, then the Lam of Allah's name should pronounce in a thin tone, like Billahi in Bismillahi. Okay. The Lam should pronounce thick tone just in Allah's name. Okay, with the condition Zabar or Pesh before it, like Allahu Rasulullahi. But if there's a Zayd, Billahi, Bismillahi in a thin tone, and all others Lam other than Allah's name, even there's a Zabar or Pesh before them, they should pronounce in a thin tone, like Illalladina. Innalladina, we're not pronouncing in a thick tone. Got it?
Yes.
Very good, mashallah. Now we will move toward the next letter, number 3, Ra. Ra. In lesson number 3, we learned that there are Zabar or Pesh before the Ra. Ra should pronounce in a thick tone, and there's a Z before the Ra. Ra should pronounce under the Ra. Ra should pronounce in a thin tone. But now in this lesson, we will learn in detail. Like if there's there are 7 conditions to pronounce Ra in a thick tone, and there are 3 conditions to pronounce Ra in a thin tone. Okay, first look at the condition pronounce Ra in a thick tone. So there are 7 conditions. Okay, I will categorize in 2 way. First, I will make the partition 3 and 4. 3 are simple. If there's a Zabar or Pesh, if there's a Zabar or Pesh on top of the Ra, Rajulun, Ruziqu, I should pronounce in a thick tone. Similarly, if there's a two zabar, a two pesh, it's a second condition. On the ra should pronounce in a thick tone, like ajrun, ajrun. Okay. Number three, if there's a khada zab on the ra should pronounce in a thick tone. Ibrahima. Okay, so three are simple condition. If there's a zabar or pesh, fatha or dhamma. If there's a double zabar, double pesh, fatha then and dhamma then on the ra. And if there's a khada zabar, vertical fatha on the ra should pronounce in a thick tone.
thick tone.
Four remaining, four belongs to ra sakina. If there's a jazm on the ra. So number one, if there is a fatha or dhamma before the ra sakin, okay, or shun, and if there is a dhamma before the ra sakin, turji'una, okay. Number two, if there is a temporary zair before the ra sakin, it's not a real zair, it's a temporary zair. What is the meaning of temporary zair? May you think?
Yes, what is the meaning of temperature? I'm also asking the same thing.
Yeah, good question. So, recite Surah Fatiha. Can you recite, please?
Okay.
First
Uh,
two, just first two ayah.
okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, stop. MashaAllah. You said Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Is there Zabar, Fatha on the Alif?
الر-
No.
sorry, can you repeat what you said?
Is there Zabar or Fatha on the Alif?
No.
No.
Mm.
So, we put it temporarily to complete the word, to complete the verse. Okay, that is called temporary Zabar. Okay, if there's a zair, then we can say it's a temporary zair. But when it's come in the start of the in the beginning of the ayah, whenever there's a alif and lam, and there's no haraka like zabar zair pesh on it, we temporarily put the zabar zair or pesh. That is called temporary harakat. If there's zabar, temporary zabar. If there's a zair, temporary zair. We can say if there's a pesh, temporary. We can say temporary pesh. Okay.
Yes, but if there is not Jabbar Jair or pace, then
Mhm.
it is also called temporary or permanent. Like
This is a temporary. We are
if
putting
if
zabar to complete.
or okay, we are putting okay. If alif comes in between, then
Yeah, yeah, good question. If Ali comes in the middle of the word and there's a zabar or pesh on it, it will become hamza and it's a real zabar. Or yeah, here you can see siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. It's coming in the middle of the verse. So it's not a temporary harakat, it's a real permanent
like
harakat.
siratal
Okay.
ladina. So al ladina alif we are ignoring and like reading like both words siratal ladina. So we are ignoring alif.
Yeah, here we are ignoring alif because after harakat, the next letter is a mushaddada. Then the letters coming between it, maybe alif or ya, we will ignore it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. MashaAllah. Okay, let's move toward our next concept. How you understand the temporary zabar? Okay, lesson number 16 we will was discussing about the condition to pronounce ra in a thick tone. So if there's a temporary zair before the ra sakin, ra should pronounce in a thicker voice. If there's a zair before the ra sakin in the previous word, not in the same word, Okay, Ra should pronounce in a thicker voice. Is a Ra Sakina and the temporary Z before the Ra Sakina in the previous word. Rabb is a complete word. Okay,
Rab. How
so
to how to
Rabbirhamhuma.
Rab Rabbir. Rab means Rabbir
Rabb mean Allah. Rabbirhamhuma. Inshallah, we will
Arham
practice. Just
Hamhuma.
I'm teaching you the rules. Inshallah, we will practice how to read. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Got it? Got this concept?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next, the condition if there is a mustaliya letter after the ra sakin. Here you can see it's a ra sakin and the mustaliya letter after ra sakin. So ra should pronounce in a thicker voice. Okay,
Yes.
let me summarize. There are simple. If there's a zabar or pesh on the row, if there's a two zabar or two pesh on the row, if there's a khada zabar on the row, there are four conditions with the ra sakin. If there's a zabar or pesh before the ra sakin, if there's a temporary zaid before the ra sakin, if there's a zaid before the ra sakin, but in the previous word, and if there's a mustaliya letter after ra sakin, ra should pronounce in a thick tone. Okay, now let's move toward the pronouncing ra in a thin tone. So it's very simple. If there's a zero those here under the ra, okay, like rijalun amrin, ra should pronounce in a thin tone. Number two, if there's a zair before the ra sakin, it's not a temporary zair, it's a permanent zair. If there's a zair before the ra sakin in the same word, okay, the condition is same word. In a thicker voice, the condition was in the previous word. But if there come before the ra again in the same word, ra should pronounce in a thin tone, like first beat. Last and final condition to pronounce in ra in a thin tone. If there is a ya sakin, what? If there is a ya sakin come before ra sakin. But you can say here is a tanween on the ra. But in the state of works, this tanween will turn into jazm. So ra will become sakin, like khoir rather than khairun. So number three, if there's a ya sakin before the ra sakin, ra should pronounce in a thin tone.
Okay.
So, let me summarize. If there's a zair or dozer, kasra or double kasra, like kasratain, under the ra. If there's a kasra before the ra sakin in the same word, zair before ra sakin in the same word. And if there is a ya sakina before the ra sakina.
Okay.
Hope this lesson about the Tarfeem and Tarqeeq, thicker and thin tone, alif, lam and ra, you understand properly.
Yes.
MashaAllah. Next lesson is about the Maddats. There are different way to. Okay, now in lesson number 17, we will learn about the Maddats. Okay, Maddat. What is the meaning of mad? Meaning of mad is to stretch, to
To
make
stress.
long. Like جاء ولا الضالين. I'm stretching ضالين. Okay, that is a mad, right?
Yes.
Whenever in the Quran you will see the mad, you will see the hamza or tashdid after it. Whenever there is a mad, you will see the hamza or tashdid, maybe jazm after mad. So you can say there are two reasons of mad, hamza or sakoon. Sakoon include two things, jazm and tashdid. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Please respond me so I can realize you are with me.
Okay.
Okay, there are reasons of mad: hamza and sukoon. Sukoon may be include jazm or tashdid both. Okay, so there are six types of madad, and they are mad muttasil and mad munfasil, mad lazim and mad leen lazim, mad arid and mad leen arid. Okay, I said in
Okay.
pairs. You can see they are in green color, and they are in purple color, and 5 and 6 in the red color. Okay, so
Okay.
actually madde muttasil and madde munfasil happen due to hamza, and madde lazim and madde lazim happen due to madde tashdid. Got it?
Yes.
Please give me a minute. So made muttasil and made munfasil happen due to hamza, and made lazim and made lazim happen due to jazm or tashdid. Okay, let me show you the example. So after letter of madda, as you can see, there's a alif madda. After letter of madda, if there's a hamza comes in the same word, in a one word, then it will be madde muttasil, number one. Okay, but hamza comes comes after letter of madda. There's a alif madda in the next word. Okay, so it will be madde munfasil, number two mad. So hamza comes in the same word after letter of madda, madde muttasil, and if hamza comes after letter of madda in the next word, then madde munfasil. Okay, so if a hamza comes after letter of madda in the same word, there will be madde muttasil attached. Madde munfasil, if a hamza comes after letter of madda in the same in the next word, in the next word, then it will be madde munfasil separate. Okay,
Mm.
and the question is that how much we should stretch the madde muttasil and madde munfasil. So 200 2 or 2.5 alif, it's equal to 4 or 5 harakat. We should stretch the madde muttasil and madde munfasil 4 or 5 harakat. The next is a madde lazim and madde leen lazim, right? So after letter of madda, if there's tashdid, after letter of madda, if there's a tashdid or jazm sukoon comes, then it will be madde lazim or madde leen lazim, right?
Mm.
And we should stretch up to 3 alif, that is equal to 6 harakats.
Mm.
If a spoon asli jazam or tashdid comes after letter of madda, then it will be madde lazim, like jannun. Madde leen lazim, if sukoon asli comes after letter of leen, then it will be madde leen lazim, like ain. Whilst pronouncing madde lazim, madde leen lazim, stretched up to 3 alif or 6 harakat. Okay,
Yes.
number 5 and 6, made arid and made leen arid. Made arid, ifa sukoon, temporary sukoon, arzi, temporary sukoon comes after letter of madda, then it will be made arid, like muslimun. Here you can see in actual there was a muslimuna, due to waqf zabar change into jazm, like this, so it's become temporary sukoon. So it's a madde lazim because it's coming after letter of madda.
Okay.
Good. And if letter of lean, after letter of lean, temporary sukoon comes, then it will be madde lean arid. Like it was in actual shafataina, but due to waqf it's become shafatain. Due to temporary sukoon after letter of lean, it's become madde lean arid. Arid mean ardi, temporary. Okay, here are the example in this lesson. Example defined with the in the definition of the Maddat. So whilst pronouncing Mad Arid and Madalin Arid, stretch up to 3 alif. It means 6 harakat. You can stretch up to 1 alif, 2 or 3 harakat. It's optional. Okay. So let me summarize the lesson, Maddat lesson. The meaning of Mad is stretch. There are two reasons of Mad, Hamza and Sukoon. Okay. Due to Hamza, there will be two Maddat. If Hamza comes, letter of Madda. Keep in mind, we are just discussing Madda and Lean. Okay. If Hamza comes after letter of Madda in the same word, Madde Muttasil. If Hamza comes after letter of Madda in the next word, then it will be Madde Munfasil. And if the Sakoon comes after letter of Madda, it will be Madde lazim, and if spoon comes after letter of lean, it will be madde lean lazim. And if there is a temporary spoon after letter of madda, it will be madde arid. And if temporary spoon after letter of lean, it will become madde lean arid. Why I'm cutting the two zayd and putting the jazm on it? Because of waqf lesson in detail inshallah in lesson number 21. So these all mad muttasil and mad munfasil we will stretch 2 or 2.5 alif. Mad lazim and mad leen lazim we will stretch up to 3 alif. And mad arid and mad leen arid we will stretch up to 3 alif. Oh, 3 alif, 6 harakat. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, hope you understand the lesson uh, about the Maddat in detail. Next lesson is very easy and understandable. In the some chapter of the Quran, in the some surah of the Quran, you may see written this type of word like Sod, Yasin, Alif Lam Mim. Is it?
Yes.
So these are called letter of Muqatta'at. Allah knows better the meaning of letter of Muqatta'at. These are the very special letters. Okay.
How many letters are there?
So
Like how many words are there total in Quran?
in Quran here mention 16. I will let you know inshallah next class how many total in Quran. Here are mentioned 16.
Okay.
Okay. So these are very blessed letters. We will pronounce them like individual letter. Alif lam mim ro, and we will do ikhfa, and we will apply the rules. Like here after nun sakin, you can see seen from ikhfa letter. After nun sakin there is a qaf from ikhfa letter. So ain sin qaf,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
Right.
there are two ways to pronounce this word. one with works, one without works. Like with works, it's become alif lam mim. Then Allahu, or if you want to read without works, it's become alif lam mim Allahu, right?
Okay.
Okay, let's move toward the next lesson. Next is also very easy lesson. In the Quran, you can see on some word there's a circle. Okay, a letter, a alif, an alif having a circle on it is an additional alif. What is the meaning of additional alif? We should not pronounce it. Okay,
Yes.
in these from here, in these all word, alif having the circle sign on them, on it, should not pronounce the alif at all. Like malaihi rather than malaihi. Okay, la ilallahi rather than la ilallahi. Right? It's simple concept. Is it clear?
So in Quran, the symbol O will be mentioned on the alif.
Yeah, in the alif. But in the case of ana, it will not be mentioned. You should keep in mind, remember. Like wala ana abidum ma abadtum. In Surah Al-Kafirun, there will be no O sign, circle sign on the alif. In the just in one word, you should keep in mind ana. Always read as ana rather than ana. But in some cases, if this word ana come in between, in the middle of the word, then we will read alif, like anamila. Alaykumul anamila. It's a one word. Anasiya. It's the complete word. That's why it's alif joining with the noun should pronounce anabu lil anami man anaba. But in case like this, la adbahannahu, will not pronounce the alif. Okay, these are the six word written separate from other. So the rule in these six word is that if we are reading the word, the ayah, and this word come in our recitation, and we have to make work at this word, then we will mention, we will read the alif as well. But while continue reading without pausing or works, we will not pronounce this alif. Okay, like wala ana abidum ma abadtum. I didn't pronounce this alif, but if want to work, like wala ana, I stop there and read the alif as well. Then wala ana abidum ma abadtum. In just in these six word cases, other than all these are read without alif, having the circle sign on them.
In the Quran,
Okay,
only six word is there.
in the Quran, these all words taking from the Quran.
Okay.
Okay,
No, the special six word you have said, no. Okay, like
yeah, you should keep in mind these six word. In the case of work stopping, you will mention the alif. In the case of not works, you will not mention the alif.
okay.
Thank you. Lesson number 20. Lesson number 20, there are different rule, easy rule. In lesson number 14, we learned that after noon sakin or tanween, if there's a yarmalun letter, we should do idgham. Is it? But If after noon sakin, if there's a ya yarmalun letter in the same word, what the condition in the same word, then idgham rule will not be applied. The izhar mutlaq rule will be applied. What's mean by izhar mutlaq? We should not do gunna. Dunya, bunyanun. You can say after noon sakin there's a yarmalun letter in the same word. So bunyanun, swinwanun, qinwanun. Got it? Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hope you understand properly this
Yes.
concept.
Yes.
Okay, let's move toward the next concept, sakta. Sakta is important.